Hi, I'm Isabella Demarko, and these are my real nails. This is not my real fringe. I've been growing long natural nails for over 10 years now, and today I am spilling the secrets on how to get to level 3 nails. So I've divided nail length into 5 different levels. Let's go over them. Level 0 is damaged nails, bitten, broken, cracked, ripped, peeling, or damaged from false nails. Level 1 still has no length, but the whole surface of the nail is undamaged and healthy. This is the great starting point, and it means you're ready to grow some length. Level 2 is any length past the fingertips. On the longer side, they could be considered mid-length. This is the typical length you'd see on like a French manicure. It's a length that does take some time, effort, and maintenance to get to with your natural nails, but it would still be considered an acceptable and manageable length by most people. Level 3 is where you get into noticeably long territory. On the shorter end of level 3, they'd still be considered quite long, and on the longer end, it's reaching impractical levels. Level 3 length is where many people draw the line. Some people even consider this length to be not classy. I feel like back in the day, this term whorish was associated with it. I love that. Also, with the rise of fake nails, if you want long nails, like, you're gonna go for level 3. Which brings us to level 4. This would be considered so long that it's way beyond the point of being practical. This length is mainly seen on false nails. A lot of the best nail artists work a lot with this length. We see this on like celebrities. People wear them maybe for special events or just to go with a special outfit for like a one-night thing. I see a lot of drag queens wear level 4 nails, but there are lots of people out there who commit to this nail length as part of their daily style. But on the longer end of level 4, this is where they start to look a bit bizarre to most people. But if this is your thing, you do you. Then we have level 5, which is the extremely rare case that your nails are probably award worthy. So we already covered how to get yourself to level 2 nails in the last video. So if you are starting from scratch, definitely go and watch that video as well. I'm gonna link it. But level 3 is actually less about growing them, because if you follow the steps to get to level 2, you already know how to grow them. And it's more about maintenance and lifestyle changes, and there are going to be some things that you probably didn't think about. I also wanted to add in some extra growth tips that I forgot to add in the first video, so I'm going to add those in towards the end. So I need to give you a word of warning. If you've had false nails at this length, you may think you can handle having natural nails at this length, but let me tell you, it's a whole different ball game. I love false nails. They are so much easier. Acrylics or gels, love them. They're thicker and harder, they're more robust, they don't break as easily, they don't soften in water, they don't peel, they don't chip, you don't have to file them, and you don't get sensory overload with them. I'll explain more about that. And if one does break, it's a bummer, but you can just get it fixed or get a whole new set. None of these things apply to real nails. They are fragile AF and they are so annoying. So that brings us to point number 1. Understand and be okay with the sacrifices you will have to make to your lifestyle. Growing nails like this is a privilege. It shows that I clearly don't have a job that requires me to work a lot of my hands. They are incredibly impractical. If you're someone who likes DIY, sports, outdoor activities, art, gardening, fixing things, playing instruments, then these things are going to be really annoying for you. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do all those things with long nails. I am a firm believer, apart from rock climbing, that's the only thing I can think of that you actually wouldn't be able to do with long nails. But it's not worth taking the time and effort to grow natural nails if you're doing those things, because they are just more likely to break, they're going to get in the way, they're going to annoy the crap out of you, so go with false nails. So that brings us to point 2. You will need to change the way you literally do everything. Assuming you watched my first video, you know now how to take care of your nails, you know the maintenance, you know how to grow them, but in order to get to and maintain level 3 nails, you have to become obsessed with your nails, to the point where to any normal person it would seem a little bit neurotic. This is because you need to be thinking about your nails all the time. It only takes one very small misjudgment when you're going to grab something and you can break a nail or a bunch of nails, and it can sometimes be very painful. I watched this video recently where a lady who actually wears her nails long all the time, she went to turn on a light and put her hand to the wall and broke all her nails. So you'll probably find that you need to approach things just more mindfully, sometimes with more of a closed hand. You'll need to pivot your hand position when opening or using certain things, like those annoying cupboards and drawers that don't actually have a handle, but they have like those little like indented ledge which they expect you to like get your fingertips in to open. Ugh. no, don't ever use your nails as leverage. So you will have to learn to use the sides of your fingers more, and also your knuckles. Your finger position might have to change when using a pen, also when typing. Even using a trackpad like a mouse pad is really difficult for me. In fact, when my nails start to get too long, actually really hard to use a mouse pad, and I spend hours editing and my fingers start to like cramp up because I have to like hold my hand in a very specific position. So I've actually just invested in like a mouse that I can actually use rather than the mouse pad. This is going to change my life. Also, typing on your phone, actually this is quite easy. I'm going to put in a clip. I just use the side of my thumb. Second nature to me now, but anyone who isn't used to this will take some getting used to. I very often use the side part of my thumb. Also, I use this pad part of my thumb, like use that to press certain buttons, for instance opening my window buttons. And my knuckle I use quite often pressing like toilet flusher buttons. Always have to use my knuckle for that. There's like no way I can physically put my nail in there. It would like just break over time. There's also some really fiddly things like opening my camera battery compartment. It has this tiny little slide. It's an absolute pain. Operating my camera, I've had to like learn to use different parts of my thumb, like turning the on and off button. I use sometimes my forefinger knuckle or like my thumb pad. They obviously grow gradually, so you learn these things over time. Point 3, you have to avoid extended periods of time in water, and this can really suck, especially if you love a bath or a hot tub. So I briefly mentioned this in my last video, but let me go further into detail. Water is not a friend to your nails because your nails and your nail beds absorb water. When they absorb water, it softens your nails, and when your nails soften, it actually changes the shape of your nail. From being like a curve, it actually flattens out like this. Simply Nailogical on YouTube refers to this as duck nails, and when they get like this, it's super uncomfortable. They are more like bendy, they're more vulnerable to breaking, peeling. It's just not good, and this happens a lot faster if the water is warm or hot. So obviously I wash my hands regularly. It doesn't affect my nails. Taking showers is fine, but I just make sure to be really careful for the next 30 to 45 minutes after the shower. Handling very heavy towels can put strain on your nails. Getting dressed, so things like tight jeans. I've also found that taking off socks and putting on trainers and certain shoes put strain on my nails. But if I am taking a bath, I actually have to hold my hands out of the bath, and I usually rest them on the bath or like the little silver handle things on some bathtubs. Actually recently I got in a hot tub and I noticed this more than ever. It was weird. I was like thinking if only someone would invent like some kind of hand floaty device. Like this is so niche, like so if you want to invent it, go ahead, but you probably won't get many people buy it. A hand floaty device that I could just like put each hand on and I could just like relax and just like float my hands. That would be like so much easier. It wasn't so comfortable to like hold my hands out of the hot tub. So yeah, if you want to invent the hand floaties for the natural nails girls out there, be my guest, but do give me some credit. Point number 4, and this is something I feel like might come as a surprise to a lot of people: sensory issues. I don't know if any other natural nails girls get this issue, but I certainly do. So you know how some people really don't like touching cotton wool, like the nails on a chalkboard feeling, or like the bleh, you know that cringe that you get? It's like you're gagging, but it's like a physical reaction of like a sensory thing that just bleh, you know? How else do I describe it? So I get this really, really bad with my nails. When I wear false nails, I don't get it at all. And it is made 10 times worse if my nails are bare, or if like I haven't redone them in a while and they're all chipped and like the paint's coming off and they're all like bare and raw and they haven't been filed in a couple weeks. Like that's when my sensory issues become the worst. My nails physically make me feel uncomfortable, and particularly like with the water thing, that is part of the sensory issue. But I do find that the more nail polish I've got on, like after I've filed them and put loads of nail polish on, my sensory issues are lessened. This is again goes back to the whole thing I spoke about in the first video about wearing nail polish. It protects them, but it also like actually helps with sensory issues. There was one time, my mum owns a bar and every now and then I work behind it, and there was a time like a year ago when I had my long natural nails and I hadn't redone them in a while, and they were like long but they were kind of like chipping and they needed to be filed and they were just like not in a good way. And I was working behind this bar, and obviously your hands are constantly getting wet, and I was constantly like trying to fight my like sensory overload issues. It was so uncomfortable that I kept like physically like going like shuddering, like I kept having like physical reactions to how my hands felt. Just something that you might not have thought of about having long natural nails, but it's definitely something that happens to me. Also, another thing that people forget, when you've had long nails for quite a long time, because the tip of your finger never gets used, it never really touches anything because your nail always hits it first. You're not using the tip of your finger to like touch things or type things or do things. You start to find that it becomes really sensitive. That like adds to the sensory issues, the fact that the tip of my finger has now become extra sensitive. Okay. Sorry. Sensory issues. And this is also another reason that I refuse to do the dishes unless I have gloves on. It's not just because the water is bad for my nails, but it's also because it gives me sensory issues. And also constantly handling the sponge, the soapy water, the things in the sink. If you're washing anything, your nail polish is more likely to chip. It scratches up your nail polish as well, which makes it duller and less shiny, and it just makes your whole manicure that you spent ages like making your nails look all pretty and shiny, it makes it now look not as good. So number 5, the stereotype that comes along with having long nails. So because of all the things I've just mentioned, you might start to come off as a little bit precious, little bit of a princess. Even if that's not actually you, like not your personality, you might start to come off that way. I have. People might start to think that you're incapable of doing things, or they might automatically assume that you're very ultra feminine and you don't like getting your hands dirty and you're not capable of manual labor, fixing things around the house, doing gardening, getting your hands dirty in any scenario. For example, I recently had a conversation with someone about what would happen in a survival situation, and they had the absolute audacity to tell me that I wouldn't last simply based on the fact that I enjoy taking care of my hair and that I have long nails. Apparently that means I'm gonna die first. This person clearly doesn't know me very well. Like, this just seems so stupid to me because I've actually have thought about survival situations. Like, pretty much the first thing I would do for myself is cut off my bloody nails. Do you really think I am gonna go into a survival situation with these things hindering me? If shit hit the fan and I was in a life or death situation, I would want full use of my hands. These nails are a style preference. They're just a bit of fun. I have actually taken a survival course. I had to live in the wild for 5 days without any food, with just a knife and my teammates, not even a tent. We had to make our own tent. We had to make our own fire. We were told like what we could eat and what we couldn't eat, and I ate a load of flowers and made myself really ill. I gave myself some kind of weird poisoning from eating these flowers, and I had to go and sit in a tree until it passed and throw up a load of flowers without, you know, doctors or any medical situation, like just in the middle of a forest. When I started university and I started acting, when I started there, I had like super long nails. It's the longest they had ever been, my personal record. But I found that like it was actually inhibiting my ability to act and become certain characters, so I decided to cut them all off. Sometimes you're going through periods of life where you need to have short nails, or jobs where you need to have short nails. And I'm not opposed to having false nails either. They're actually easier and I prefer them sometimes. Point number 6. It's a really, really good idea to learn how to fix a broken nail. Get yourself a nail repair kit. Yes, these do exist. I used a brand called The Edge, which I got from eBay and Amazon. There's probably better ones out there, but I've never seemed to have found them. So I'm gonna link it below. It's this silk fiber material, and it comes with this resin and this activator spray that is just a lot harder, and I used this all the time back when I was growing my nails super long. You can also use the tea bag method, which I've made a video on. I'm gonna link that as well for you. But sometimes using nail glue is actually not the best thing to do because it's really hard and brittle, and it can just lead your break that you've mended to snap again. Sometimes it's actually better to use just a normal base coat. The other thing you need to know about mending your nails is that it doesn't actually last very long, depending on the break and if you're really committed to continuing to mend it. But I do find that the Edge nail repair kit lasts considerably longer than the teabag method. And this brings me to point 7, know when to cut them all down. Usually if I have one nail break, for example, my pinky recently broke. To me, this is still fairly acceptable. I'm not going to cut the rest of my nails down just because I broke one nail. I'll file it nice, I'll paint it, I'll make it look as good as I can, and I'll just continue with my life. But when it gets to 2 broken nails, it can start to look a little bit incohesive, particularly if like mending it isn't an option. And if I'm getting like to 3 broken nails, like I'm definitely like, that's it, that's a deal breaker. I'm definitely cutting them all down. I don't want to tell anyone how to present themselves, like honestly, you do you, but I don't really like when all my nails are drastically different lengths, and I don't like to present myself in that way. This is where I need to make a confession. I have actually broken one of my nails. It's currently mended. I have mended it just for this video, to be honest with you. I may try and keep mending it until Christmas, but after that it's just gonna start to get annoying, so I'm probably going to cut them all down. So maybe I sound like a bit of a hypocrite telling you how to like maintain long nails when I've literally just broken 2 nails, but I mean that just goes to show how hard it is. I've just moved house, Christmas is coming up, I've been busier, and naturally I just haven't had as much time to keep up with my nail care routine, and the longer you leave it between nail care routines, the more likely your nails are to get cracks in the side, and that leads to a break. So that's what happened. This actually brings me to point 8, which is another kind of unusual one. If you are like active on social media and you're posting your nails a lot, you're probably gonna end up getting some different kind of attention. You may not know this, but there is a nail fetish community on the internet, and they will find you. It's really quite harmless, but if you're someone that doesn't like that kind of attention, like just be aware that you might get some comments that you weren't expecting just from having long natural nails. I like that people appreciate them and that they enjoy looking at my nails, like whatever that means for them. It's none of my business. I'm not doing anything that I feel uncomfortable with, but if people get off to that, you go for it. And there are like other communities. So like I used to post pictures of my nails on a nail website called nailslong.com, and this was mainly for like nail fetishists or just nail enthusiasts, people that love nails, and there was never any explicit content on there ever. It was literally just pictures of people's nails, and people freaking loved that. Like people lapped it up. I like that because it makes me feel like some value in having long nails. Okay, so the 2 extra growth tips that I forgot to mention. One of them was something that a lot of people talk about, and it's actually to avoid nail hardeners. This is only for some people, okay? I can't say that I've had that personal experience, but nail hardeners can actually cause your nails to become more brittle and more likely to snap. And the other tip was, okay, so everybody knows about biotin, right, for growing your hair and nails, but there's another one that you might have actually not heard of before, and that is folic acid. If you've looked into this stuff before, you probably already know about folic acid. It's actually a type of vitamin that's recommended for pregnant women. It's said to help prevent birth defects and other complications, but it has also been reported that when taking folic acid, people have experienced like faster hair growth and faster nail growth. You can actually get folic acid pretty cheap. I always see it in the supermarket. You could give that a go. If it works, definitely report back. And you know, I've heard of these things like putting garlic oil on your nails and all that stuff. I personally wouldn't do any of those things anyway because I don't want my fingers to smell like garlic, but like there are other remedies you can do. Go for it, be my guest. I don't bother with them because I honestly feel like it's a bit of a waste of time. Just stick to the basic tips that I shared and you will get nail growth. So I wish you the best of luck on your nail journey. If you can think of anything I missed, do let me know in the comments because I'd actually be interested to hear. I have a second channel where I post more vlogs and more just like raw content and experimental videos, so do subscribe there. This is a video that YouTube thinks you might like, and this is a video that I think you might like, so make your pick. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Mwah.